Alright, in this video I will share with you guys one of the best ways to create guitar melodies all from scratch in FL Studio. It's going to be very educational, but make sure you look through the whole video because I will share with you guys a few tricks that might actually change the way you make your melodies moving forward. So as you guys know, we're not going to waste any more time. Let's just jump straight in. Alright, so we are now here in FL Studio 21 as you guys can see. And to start off with, since one of you guys commented that I didn't show the BPM for the last beat, so the first thing we're going to do is just bump the BPM down to about 130. Then I will open up this picked nylon guitar in Contact. It's one of the most realistic and best guitar VSTs you can get. So we're going to use this one, but I will change the preset. So I'm going to open up this tab right here and we will go for this Spanish Night preset. It's just going to give the guitar that little bit of extra texture we need. And it is also going to give us that really realistic nylon guitar type of sound. And then we are going to open up the piano roll over here, but we are going to pick a new scale. Now that we have both the BPM and the guitar down, we just want to open up the piano roll and pick a scale we're going to work in. So let's go over here to scale highlighting and let's start off with C minor for this one. So since we are working in C minor, we are just going to start off by laying down a C minor chord. Now this is pretty much going to be our triad foundation, but to show you guys one of the best ways to actually make guitar melodies, we want to build a little bit off of this chord right here. So the first thing we're going to do once we have this triad chord over here is that we're just going to duplicate our root note. So in this case it's obviously the C. We want to copy the C one octave up as well. This means that we are going to have a C on the C6 and a C on the C5. Now once we have this, the last thing we want to do is actually just to invert the middle note. So if this is our triad right here, we want to invert this middle note over here, which in this case is going to be the D sharp. So what I mean by inverting is just by pitching it up one octave. So instead of having it on a D sharp 5, we are going to have it on the D sharp 6 over here, as you guys can see. Also make sure that we are highlighting all the notes and turn down the velocity a little bit. This is just because we really want to make sure that the guitar is being played a little bit softer. It is overall just going to make the whole sound better. And if you feel like you are reducing the volume too much, you can always just bump the gain and the volume up a little bit later when it comes to the effects or just turning it up in general. Now obviously this is a guitar, so we want to strum out the notes a little bit, and we are going to do it in a very basic pattern. So all we have to do is just open up this magnet tool, make sure that we are on cell mode, and then literally just move it 2 steps out like this. You can do this for every single one of the notes and you will have a very basic pattern that should look something like this over here. I will just play a little bit around with the velocity so we can make it sound somewhat more realistic, but this is how our first chord sounds. Super nice vibe. Now literally everything we have to do is just copy this chord over, but this time you can either pitch it up by 5 semitones or you can pitch it down by 5 semitones. No matter which way you're gonna go, it's seriously going to sound super fire. So we can try both and see which one we like the most. So let's start off by pitching it down. 1 2 3 4 5. I think it might actually sound better if you pitch it up, so let's try to do that. 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, that definitely sounds super nice. Now the cool thing about this, you can obviously experiment a little bit with the notes. So let's say for the second chord, you can always invert this down 1 octave again if you want to do that. Or you can actually invert this one down an octave. Just so the whole sound kind of changes up a little bit. But from here we just want to add some more movement to our guitar, and to do this we just want to add some top notes here and there to really enhance the whole sound of our guitar sample. So I will start up here on the D sharp. Let's just zoom in on this a little bit and hold Alt on our keyboard. Then we're just going to move it slightly off grid so it doesn't hit exactly at the same time as the root note down there. Then literally just play around with a few notes here and there until you find a nice sounding pattern. Yeah, this is a super cool pattern right here. All I've done is just added these top notes over here. So that right there sounds fire, but to make it somewhat more interesting, we are just going to copy this over and then we can just do a few tweaks on the notes here and there to just change up the sample ever so slightly, but still having that main pattern flowing over again. Alright, so to do those few tweaks, I will start off on this F over here. So let's go over to the magnet tool and pick 6th beat. Then we are just going to shorten this out over here. Let's try to delete this G6 and add 2 filler notes over here. So since we are working in the 6th beat, it's going to give it a little bit more of a unique bounce for the guitar. So let's take a listen to how it sounds. Yeah, that's fire. Now over here for the second part, let's try to cut down this G this time instead of the F. So we can maybe shorten this out a little bit and try to add 2 notes over here. Let's actually pitch them up. Yeah, that's fire. So our guitar pattern is sounding amazing, but to really give the guitar some cool texture and enhance the sound, we for sure need to add a few effects. As for the effects, we're just going to keep them very simple, so I will start off with this Valhalla vintage verb. I'm just using this spacious vocal preset, and let's try to put down the mix a little bit. You can also turn up the low cut as well. Then I will also use a RC20, just using the Vinyl 3 preset. It's seriously one of the best presets you can use when it comes to RC20, but I highly recommend to turn off the noise, since we can add a little bit of noise with some different textures later on. Then I will just finish it off with this reverse echo preset in Effect Track. It's going to give the guitar a little bit of that reverse delay sound in the background. Then we just have some fresh air to give it some more color for the higher frequencies, and the EQ at the end just to cut out the frequencies we don't really want. So a few of you guys have been asking me why I EQ the way I EQ, and the reason for it is because I really want to remove the low frequencies since I don't want it to clash with the bass, and I always tend to EQ out the frequencies at about 300 to 400 because they really make the whole sample sound super boxy, and I highly recommend you guys cut a few frequencies out in this range because it's really going to make the sample more present at the end. Then we're also boosting the highs just a tiny bit. Give it some more clarity on the higher frequencies. Next, I feel like this guitar pattern could fit perfectly with a vocal in the background, so I will just open up Hooked over here in Arcade, look through a couple of the presets and see if we can find a nice vocal phrase. By the way, since we are already working in Arcade, I just want to show you guys a super cool trick. If you guys didn't know, there are actually a few ways you can manipulate the phrases you find in here. So sometimes I will just quickly look through a couple of the vocals. So as an example, I feel like this one sounds pretty cool, but then again, it's very short and we can't have it repeat over again. So literally all you have to do is just open up the note you actually want to play. And if you see over here, the vocal phrase is actually way longer than it looks like. So if we were just to play this vocal, it is just short like that, but we can actually drag this back over here and also extend this over here to the end. And now if you play the vocal phrase, you'll hear it sounds longer as well.
Don't fake it, baby. No, no.
So when we use the whole vocal phrase, it's gonna sound way better than if we just chopped up one part of it.
Darling, come home.
The vocal phrase is way longer.
Home, home.
It fits nicely as well. So what we're going to do with this vocal is just open up the mixer. We have it routed to the second insert, so let's just open up the record button over here. Then I'm just going to press Alt and R on my keyboard. This is just going to render it out as a WAV file. So now that we have the vocal sample rendered out like this, we can seriously just chop it up and really manipulate the whole vocal in the way we really want it to sound.
Darling, come home. Home, home.
Yeah, now it's perfectly in time.
Darling,
Obviously, let's quickly add some effects to the vocals so it sounds a bit better with the guitar.
darling, come home.
A little bit of reverb to start off with. Make sure we add some EQ. Let's add an imager to really widen out the vocal a bit. A little bit of delay as well in the background. Alright, now let's just quickly finish off this sample with a bass and a few textures. So for the bass, I'm just going to open up my Euphoria bundle kit. I'll go over to the drum kits, and in the 808 section, I have a sub bass all the way at the end. So let's just drag in this one. You want to make sure to open it up and turn off loop points. Then you want to go over to the envelope knob and just turn everything down except from the hold. This one you're going to turn all the way up. Then go over to the wrench tool and just press cut self, while you also want to right click on this and make sure it's at D sharp. Now literally let's just put the bass on the root notes like this. And all we're going to do is just copy it over for each part. It really adds to that low end of the guitar sample. Lastly, I'm just gonna go over to my Imperial one-shot kit and add a few textures in. Really like the vocals with the guitar. Alright, now that we have the sample down, let's quickly just add some drums. As for all the drum sounds I'm using, they are of course coming from my Euphoria bundle kit. Thank you guys so much for the support in the kit. If you still haven't checked it out, you can just go on my website. It's BBMarko.com, or you can obviously just click the first link down below. So let's just start off with the claps and the hi-hats. So I'm just gonna use this rim as a clap. Turn the velocity up a little bit. Go straight in with the hi-hats. Very basic pattern, but it still gets that bounce going. Since the guitar melody has a lot of movement to it, I don't really want to overdo it with the drums, so I'm going to try to keep them kind of simple, but we are still going to do a few unique tricks to give it some more bounce. We need to have that open hat on the first hit as well, but then I will add a couple of perks and rims to really get the bounce going. So we have a cool pattern right here. Add that fading velocity. Let's add a subtle open hat as well. Just something like that right there. Now that we have those elements down, let's go in with the kick and the 808. As for the 808, I want to pick a shorter 808, but I want to make sure that it punches super nicely. Yeah, so let's go for this gear 808 right here. I will open it up and turn up the boost a little bit, just to make sure it's extra punchy. Let's do a cool chop over here. This kind of fire. As for the second part, let's try to do something a little bit more unique. So I will again go over to the third beat over here, and let's do a little bit of a triplet pattern for the 808. So we have it right here. Woohoo! That is insane! A super unique 808 right there. Yeah, that's crazy. Let's just quickly add a kick to this, and that should pretty much be it for the beat. This right here is the intro.
Shut up, Marko.
So bass comes in a bit late, but it gets ready for the drop. A little bit of delay on this. That 808 though. Different 808 pattern on the second part. Slows down for the verse. No 808 right here, just a kick and a sub. Then it drops in again.